Commander Zekthal observed the human fleet through the crystalline viewport of his flagship, the Void's Embrace. The sleek vessels moved in perfect formation toward the asteroid field, exactly as predicted. After 3 cycles of careful observation, the Kethmori had finally understood humanity's greatest weakness, their insatiable curiosity. They cannot resist investigating anomalies, Zekthal had told the War Council. We plant the bait, they will come. The bait was elegant in its simplicity. 3 derelict ships from different civilizations, strategically placed among the asteroids, each broadcasting faint distress signals on frequencies humans monitored. The perfect archaeological find. The perfect trap. Zekthal's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. Hidden throughout the asteroid field, 200 Kethmori warships waited in complete electromagnetic silence. Their stealth fields rendered them invisible to human sensors. When the human fleet entered the kill zone, they would find themselves surrounded by overwhelming firepower with no escape route. "Pray, Admiral," his tactical officer reported, using the derogatory term the Kethmori had coined for human military leaders. The human fleet has begun docking procedures with the first derelict. Through his scope, Zekthal watched as sleek human shuttles approached the ancient Vorthon research vessel. The humans would soon discover the ship's cargo bay, filled with ancient artifacts, each one a sophisticated sensor node that would map their ship's defensive capabilities and transmit the data to the waiting Kethmori fleet. What Zekthal didn't know was that Admiral Sarah Chen had been expecting something exactly like this. Aboard the UES Indomitable, Chen studied the tactical display with the cold calculation that had earned her the nickname Ice Queen among her subordinates. The 3 derelict ships formed too perfect a triangle. The asteroid composition showed traces of refined metals that shouldn't exist in nature. Most tellingly, the quantum signatures from the asteroids indicated massive objects in stealth mode. "Ma'am," reported Lieutenant Commander Torres from the sensor station, "we're detecting microgravitational anomalies throughout the field, consistent with cloaked vessels." Chen smiled grimly. "How many?" "Approximately 200 contacts, Admiral." The bridge fell silent. 200 ships against their fleet of 37. By conventional tactical wisdom, they should retreat immediately. But Sarah Chen hadn't become the youngest admiral in human history by following conventional wisdom. "Initiate Protocol Lazarus," she ordered quietly. Throughout the human fleet, her words triggered a cascade of activity. Cargo bays opened, releasing thousands of small objects that appeared to be nothing more than space debris. Engineering teams began rapidly reconfiguring power grids. Most importantly, every ship's AI began executing a program that had been 3 years in development. The objects weren't debris, they were dormant drones, each no larger than a softball, designed to mimic asteroid fragments while carrying a fusion warhead capable of cracking a battlecruiser's hull. Zekthal watched with growing anticipation as human teams boarded all 3 derelict vessels. Soon his trap would spring, and the human exploration fleet would be revealed as the scouting force it undoubtedly was. The Kethmori would eliminate this threat and learn the location of human colonies from the survivors. "All vessels report ready," his weapons coordinator announced. "Shall we spring the trap?" "Execute," Zekthal commanded. Throughout the asteroid field, Kethmori ships dropped their stealth fields simultaneously, their hulls gleaming like beetles' carapaces in the starlight. Weapons powered up with ominous hums as targeting systems locked onto human vessels. "Humans," Zekthal broadcast on all frequencies, his translator rendering his words in cold mechanical English. "You have entered Kethmori territory. Surrender your vessels and prepare to be boarded." Admiral Chen's response crackled back almost immediately. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Force. You are interfering with a lawful salvage operation in unclaimed space. Withdraw immediately." Zekthal's mandibles clacked in what passed for Kethmori laughter. "You are surrounded, human. Your 37 vessels against our 200. Logic dictates surrender." There was a pause before Chen's voice returned, and Zekthal could swear he heard amusement in her tone. "Commander, you've made 2 critical errors. First, you assumed we didn't know this was a trap." Another pause. "Second, you assumed we came alone." Zekthal was about to demand clarification when his tactical display exploded with new contacts. The debris scattered throughout the asteroid field suddenly came alive, revealing themselves as armed drones. Simultaneously, What had appeared to be empty space behind the human fleet shimmered as an additional 43 human vessels dropped their own advanced stealth systems. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was when Zekthul's sensors detected the true nature of the human exploration fleet. Each vessel's power signature had just tripled. The ships he'd dismissed as lightly armed research vessels were revealing weapon systems that made his battleships look like shuttlecraft. "Impossible," he whispered. "You see, Commander," Chen's voice continued conversationally. "We've been watching you watch us for months. We know about your surveillance posts in the Kepler system. We know about your archaeological surveys near our colonies. And we know that your species has a rather predictable tactical doctrine." The first wave of human drones struck before Zekthul could process her words. Tiny fusion explosions blossomed throughout his formation as the seemingly insignificant projectiles punched through shields and armor with contemptuous ease. In seconds, a dozen of his ships were drifting hulks. "You wanted to spring a trap," Chen said as human warships opened fire with weapons that turned space itself into a killing field. "Congratulations. You just did." The battle lasted 14 minutes. When it was over, the asteroid field was filled with the wreckage of Kethmori ships. A few had managed to flee, their crews carrying news that would change everything the galactic community thought they knew about humanity. Admiral Chen stood in the wreckage-strewn field, her fleet salvage teams already at work stripping useful technology from the alien hulks. The 3 derelict ships that had started this all turned out to be genuine archaeological finds, a bonus she hadn't expected. "Ma'am," Torres reported, "we're receiving surrender requests from 17 Kethmori vessels." Chen nodded. "Accept their surrender?" "And Lieutenant Commander." "Yes, ma'am. Send a message to Fleet Command. Tell them the Kethmori just learned why humans don't make good prey." She turned back to the viewport, watching as human engineering teams began dismantling alien weapon systems. The Kethmori had indeed set a trap. They just hadn't realized they were the ones walking into it. In the depths of space, humanity had just announced its arrival on the galactic stage, not as explorers or diplomats, but as apex predators who had learned to hunt the hunters. The galaxy would never be the same.